It all began precisely 10 days ago. Last Thursday, I returned from my shift at the museum. Just an ordinary day, nothing special. And there it was, waiting at my apartment door. A small cube, roughly the size of a jewelry box, maybe slightly taller. It was covered in deep blue paper, the kind you find in specialty stationery shops. It was fastened meticulously with black fabric ribbon, as if someone had taken extraordinary care to ensure it wouldn't come undone during transit. The strangest part was the lack of any identification. No return information, no delivery service logo, no tracking number, just my name and apartment number, written in elegant silver script across the top. It was undeniably addressed to me, perfectly accurate. I initially thought perhaps a colleague had left something, or maybe it was a local artisan delivery that bypassed standard shipping. I wasn't expecting anything. I lifted it up. It wasn't particularly hefty, but it felt substantial. I shook it gently. No sound came from within. I carried it inside, placed it on my coffee table, and simply observed it for a moment. There's something inherently unsettling about receiving an anonymous package, right? Particularly nowadays. But it wasn't suspicious in the traditional sense. It just looked mysterious, elegant. I contemplated opening it immediately, but something gave me pause. A flicker of, I'm not sure, intuition? Or possibly just the fact that I was exhausted from my shift and wanted to relax. I left it on the table and largely pushed it from my mind for the remainder of the evening. The following day, Friday, another one appeared. Identical. Same deep blue paper, same careful ribbon work, same silver script with my name. No sender information, no delivery markings. Just there, outside my apartment door, awaiting my return. Well, twice makes a pattern. This wasn't a misdelivery or a friendly gesture anymore. This was deliberate. I felt a twinge of uneasiness. I picked it up, and it felt exactly like the first one. Same dimensions, same weight, same silence when shaken. I set it beside the first one on my coffee table. They looked like perfect duplicates. My thoughts began racing. Was this some elaborate marketing campaign? A prank from friends? I asked my immediate neighbors if they'd noticed anyone leaving packages. Mr. Rivera across the hall, who works from home and notices everything, said he hadn't seen anything unusual. I even called the building manager, described the packages, and asked if they had any security footage of who might have delivered them. The manager sounded disinterested, essentially telling me that if maintenance didn't deliver it, they couldn't help me. Could be a friend, could be a secret admirer, she suggested before recommending I contact security if I was worried. Saturday, another package arrived, identical to the others. Now I had 3 of them arranged on my coffee table. The anxiety was definitely intensifying. This wasn't amusing anymore. Felt intrusive. Someone knew where I lived, and they were deliberately, repeatedly, sending these silent, anonymous boxes. I did call building security. I explained the situation to the guard who answered. I tried to keep my tone reasonable, logical. I realize it might seem trivial, I said, but it's been 3 consecutive days now. Identical packages, no sender information. It's becoming concerning. The guard listened, or at least I believe he did. He asked if the packages appeared threatening, if anyone had made threats against me recently. I said no, not explicitly. They simply existed. He suggested it was probably a misguided promotion, or perhaps some company's unusual sample distribution. Have you considered just throwing them away? He offered, as if that would somehow solve the mystery of who was leaving them. Unless there's an actual threat, ma'am, there's not much we can do about someone leaving items at your door if they're not harmful. So helpful. Incredibly helpful. Sunday. Package number 4. I actually experienced a knot of dread when I spotted it. I didn't even want to touch it initially. I nudged it with my foot first, then reluctantly picked it up. Identical. Exactly the same. The collection on my coffee table was growing. It felt as though they were observing me. Monday, package number 5. I was beginning to feel targeted. My sleep was suffering. Every sound in the apartment made me startle. I kept peering through the peephole, hoping to catch whoever was doing this. I even stayed up late Sunday night, sitting quietly by the door, listening for footsteps in the hallway, but I must have dozed off because there it was Monday morning when I opened the door to leave for work. Tuesday, package number 6. My weekend was completely ruined. I barely left my apartment. I just kept staring at the 6 packages. They were a quiet, oppressive presence in my living room. I'd walk past them, and my gaze would be drawn to them. What was inside? Why me? The questions circled continuously in my mind. I considered taking them somewhere, to the police station perhaps, and simply leaving them there. But what would that accomplish? Building security had already told me they couldn't do anything. I thought about opening them naturally. Many times. The curiosity was immense, a burning sensation under my skin. But it was intermingled with a potent measure of fear. What if it contained something disturbing? Something harmful? The not knowing was torture, but knowing could be worse. My imagination, fueled by sleep deprivation and growing apprehension, was envisioning all sorts of troubling possibilities. And then yesterday, Wednesday, the 7th package arrived. I saw it from the window as I was brewing tea, my hands trembling slightly. Another one. 7 days. Complete week. That number 7, it felt meaningful. Ominous even, like a deadline or a countdown reaching its conclusion. I called in sick to work yesterday. I couldn't have concentrated anyway. I spent the day pacing, staring at the 7 packages now lined up like eerie blue sentinels. The living room felt more confined, the air heavier. I knew, with a certainty that settled into my very core, that I couldn't allow this to continue. I had to know. The uncertainty was consuming me. So I made my decision. Last night, I'd wait until it was late, until the building around me was quiet. Then I would open them. All of them. The hours dragged by. I attempted to distract myself with streaming shows, with reading, but my attention kept returning to the packages. They seemed to pulse with a silent, expectant energy. Or perhaps that was just the tension in my own mind. Finally, around midnight, I couldn't bear it any longer. The apartment was completely silent. The only sound was the rapid beating of my own heart. I approached the coffee table. The 7 packages sat there almost accusingly. I took a deep breath, found a pair of scissors, and picked up the first one, the one that had appeared last Thursday. My palms were damp. The ribbon was silky, resistant. Took some effort to cut through it cleanly. I unwrapped the blue paper carefully, as if dismantling something volatile. Inside was a simple, black, unsealed envelope. Standard card size. My name wasn't on this inner envelope. It was completely blank. My pulse raced. I slid my finger under the flap and removed what was inside. It was a single photograph, Polaroid style, the kind that develops instantly. On it was an image, an old-fashioned pocket watch, or at least that's what it appeared to be. The image was clear, professional. The watch was antique silver, ornately engraved with swirling patterns. Its face showed Roman numerals, and the time displayed was exactly midnight. In the bottom corner of the photograph, written in the same silver script as my name on the package, were 2 words, Time 1. I stared at it, a cold unease creeping through me. Time 1. This was the package from last Thursday. Pocket watch showing midnight. What did it mean? My breath caught. I reached for the second package, the one from Friday. My fingers fumbled with the scissors, my movements unsteady. I cut it open, removed the identical black envelope, then the photograph. Another image, the same pocket watch, but this time the hands showed 12:10. 10 minutes past midnight. Nothing else had changed. Same watch, same angle, same quality of photograph. And at the bottom corner, time 2. A wave of discomfort washed over me. What was this? I hurried to open the third package, tearing at the blue paper with growing urgency. Envelope, photograph, time 3, the pocket watch, now showing 12:20. 20 minutes past midnight. The pattern was unmistakable. I tore open the fourth package. Time 4. The watch showed 12:30. 30 minutes past midnight. My breathing became shallow, rapid. A small sound escaped my lips. This made no sense. It was methodical, deliberate. But to what end? Package 5. Time 5. The watch now showed 12:40. 40 minutes past midnight. I was shaking uncontrollably now. My hands were slick with perspiration. I could barely grasp the scissors. Package number 6. The one from Tuesday. I cut it open hastily, not even being careful with the envelope, just extracting the photograph. Time 6. The pocket watch. It displayed 12:50. 50 minutes past midnight. One package remained. The one from yesterday. Time 7. I hesitated. A part of me, a screaming, terrified part, didn't want to see it. Wanted to burn them all, to pretend this wasn't happening. But I had to. I had to know how this bizarre sequence concluded. With quivering fingers, I picked up the 7th package. It felt heavier than the others, more significant, though I knew it was an illusion, a product of my fear. I cut it open, removed the envelope, extracted the photograph. Time 7. The image, the pocket watch, and the time. It wasn't just advancing. It showed exactly 1 o'clock. 1 hour past midnight. The hour hand had moved. Something about seeing that hour hand in its new position sent a chill through me that the minute hand hadn't. I stared at the photograph, my blood turning cold. The silence in the apartment was absolute, save for the rushing in my ears. Time 7. Today. The watch showed 1 o'clock. In the photograph. Tick, tock, tick. I gasped. Not loudly, more like a choked intake of breath, torn from my throat. The sound had come from within my apartment. 3 distinct, mechanical sounds. My heart leaped into my throat, threatening to suffocate me. I stumbled back from the coffee table, knocking a mug to the floor. It shattered, the sound unnaturally loud in the charged silence. The photographs. The watch showing 1 o'clock in the Time 7 picture. And now this. Is someone there? I managed to call out, my voice barely audible. I didn't expect an answer. I didn't want an answer. Silence. For a moment, I thought perhaps I'd imagined it. The stress, the disturbing photographs. Then it came. Not a voice, not another tick. It was a melody. Tick-tock tick, tock tick, tick-tock tick. It was soft, almost delicate, like the sound of an antique timepiece. But the rhythm, it was a tune, a twisted, mechanical version of a music box melody. Slow, deliberate, unnervingly patient. Each sound seemed to reverberate through the apartment, through me. I was frozen. Every horror story ever told, every instinctive fear, it was all real, all descending upon me. The photographs were a countdown, a warning, and the clock had just struck 1. The musical ticking continued, a soft, insidious rhythm from somewhere in my apartment. Tick-tock tick, tock tick, tick-tock tick, repeating endlessly. My mind, finally shocked out of its paralyzed terror by a surge of adrenaline, screamed one word, police. I fumbled for my phone, which thankfully was on the end table. My fingers were clumsy, damp with sweat. I nearly dropped it. I dialed 911, my breath coming in shallow gasps. 911, what's your emergency? The dispatcher's voice was composed, professional, a stark contrast to the turmoil erupting inside me. There's someone in my apartment, I stammered, trying to keep my voice from breaking. I can hear them. I think they're dangerous. Okay, ma'am, what's your address? I provided it, my eyes darting between the hallway leading to my bedroom and bathroom, and the photographs spread out on the coffee table. The Time 7 image seemed to taunt me. Is the person still there, ma'am? Yes, I can hear them. There's this ticking, like a clock, but it's playing a tune. My voice was quavering so badly I could barely form coherent sentences. Please hurry. I received these packages. They led up to this moment. Ma'am, I need you to stay on the line with me. Are you in a secure location in the apartment? Can you lock yourself in a room? I'm in the living room. The front door it's locked. But what if locks weren't enough? What if whatever was making that sound wasn't restricted by physical barriers? The ticking stopped. The silence that followed was somehow more terrifying. heavy, expectant. "Ma'am, are you still there?" the dispatcher asked. Yes. The ticking, it stopped. My voice was barely above a whisper. "Officers are on their way. They should arrive in approximately 7 minutes. Can you see your entire apartment from where you are?" No, not completely. The layout of my apartment meant the bedroom and bathroom were down a short hallway. "But I'm not going to look." The dispatcher tried to keep me calm, asking questions, but my concentration was fragmented. Every shadow appeared to shift. Every subtle sound the building made, the heating system, the refrigerator's hum, sounded like footsteps, breathing. Those were the longest 7 minutes of my existence. I clutched the phone, staring at the photographs. The progression, the relentless advance of time. It was so methodical, so patient. Then, finally, I heard it. The blessed sound of voices in the hallway outside, growing louder. A wave of relief, so powerful it almost brought me to my knees, washed over me. Soon there was a firm, authoritative knock. "Police! Open up!" This time I practically ran to the door. I fumbled with the deadbolt and chain, my hand still shaking, and pulled it open. 2 officers stood there, expression serious, hands near their weapons. "Are you all right, ma'am?" one of them asked, her eyes scanning past me into the apartment. I think so. There's someone here." "In the apartment," I babbled, ushering them in. The ticking, the melody. I received these packages. I led them to the living room, my words tumbling out in a chaotic rush as I tried to explain the week of anonymous deliveries, the decision to open them, the disturbing photographs. I gestured to the 7 pictures laid out on the coffee table. The officers exchanged a glance. One of them, a woman with kind eyes, leaned down to examine the photographs. She picked up time 1, then time 7, her expression unreadable. The other, a younger male officer, walked through the apartment, checking rooms, closets, and windows. All clear, no sign of forced entry, the male officer reported when he returned. The female officer looked at me. "Ma'am, when we arrived, there was no indication of anyone in the building who shouldn't be here. We checked with the night security guard as we came in. No unauthorized entries. But I heard it," I insisted, my voice rising with a new kind of panic. "The ticking, the melody. It was right here in my apartment. We understand you're upset, ma'am," the female officer said, her tone carefully neutral. "These photographs are unusual, I'll grant you. Could be some kind of very elaborate, very cruel joke." "A joke?" I felt a surge of frustration. "This isn't a joke. Something was in my apartment. We have security cameras in the lobby and elevators," the male officer interjected. "They record all activity entering the building. We can review the footage from the time you called. See if anyone was coming to your floor who shouldn't be." A small glimmer of hope. "Yes, please. You'll see." They called it in. We waited. The living room felt cold again, the adrenaline fading away, leaving me exhausted and raw. The female officer asked me more questions. If I had any enemies, any recent conflicts, anyone who might want to frighten me this severely. I couldn't think of anyone. My life is ordinary, routine, or it was. After about 15 minutes, the male officer's radio crackled. He listened, then looked at me, then at his partner. His expression was peculiar. Not exactly sympathy, not exactly doubt. "Well," I prompted. He cleared his throat. "They reviewed the camera footage from the past hour. There's no one, ma'am. Nothing unusual. No one entered your floor who doesn't live here, and none of your neighbors left their apartments during the time you called." The hallway was empty. The words struck me like a physical blow. No one. The cameras showed no one. But I'd heard it. The ticking. The melody. It was real. I know it was. The officers were sympathetic in that professional, detached manner. They suggested I might have been under significant stress lately, that the photographs had understandably alarmed me. They implied I might have imagined the sounds, my mind playing tricks after such a disturbing discovery. The female officer even gently suggested I might want to consult with someone, a counselor, perhaps. They documented the photographs, took my statement. They said they'd file a report for harassment, but without a suspect, without any physical evidence of someone actually being there. There wasn't much more they could do. They assured me I was safe. They even promised an extra patrol around the building before they finally departed. I locked the door behind them, the deadbolt and chain clicking into place with a sound that provided zero reassurance. Safe. They said I was safe. But I didn't feel safe. I felt more vulnerable, more exposed than ever. If there was no intruder, then what had I heard? What was tormenting me? I gathered the 7 photographs, my hands still unsteady. I couldn't bring myself to discard them. They were evidence, even if only I believed it. I put them back in their envelopes, then back in the blue wrapping paper, and tucked the entire disturbing collection into a drawer, as if concealing them would hide the truth. I didn't sleep at all last night. I sat in my living room in darkness, listening. Every creak, every moan of the building settling was the prelude to that ticking, that melody. But it didn't return. Until tonight. It's now. Just after 1 in the morning. The same time shown on the watch in the final photograph. The same time the ticking started last night. And it's happening again. As I'm writing this, I can hear it. Tick, tock, tick, from somewhere in my apartment. Clear as crystal. Or clear as darkness. My heart is a panicked creature in my chest. I called out, "Who's there?" Just like last night. My voice was a pathetic, wavering thing. No answer. Just silence for a moment. And then, tick-tock tick, tock-tick, tick-tock tick. The melody is back. Mechanical sounds. A delicate, horrifying tune. I know if I call the police, they'll find nothing. The cameras will show nothing. They'll think I'm delusional. Maybe I am. But that ticking, it's real. I'm hearing it right now. It's soft, persistent. It's not threatening. It's just present. Reminding me, the watch from Time 7 might not be physically sitting in my apartment. But something is. Something connected to those photographs or something that sent them. I don't know what to do. I'm trapped in my own home, haunted by a sound that no one else can verify.